Hey good people, welcome back to Beauty in the Frizz. My name is Cara. Whether you're new or returning, thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out with me for a really special mimosas and makeup. I don't have a mimosa right now, but you best believe I'm gonna have something in the chat. So if you are drinking something, it doesn't have to be a mimosa, it could be water. Let me know what you are having right now in the chat. I am so happy because I am finally going to be sharing my draft of my vision board with you all, and I am just really excited. I'm really excited. So many of you have talked about creating vision boards and wanted to know, am I going to share mine? And I have a pretty good outline for mine. So if you want to hear about my vision board, my roadmap for probably the next 2 years, keep watching this video. Let me know what you think. And if makeup is your therapy and your love, but guess what? You're trying to live better too. Definitely consider joining the community. I'd love to have you back. All right, let's get started. Please let me know how you are doing in the chat. I'm already smiling because as we're watching this video, I'm on my family vacation. So I am watching from there and I'm really excited to be with y'all as per usual. So we are gonna go ahead and talk about this vision board, but I do have some notes in my phone just to kind of outline, you know, my whole process. And in this video, I wanna talk about why am I making a vision board and why am I making it now? I know the year is half over. I also wanna share the basic categories on my vision board, the process for creating it. I wanna explain to you all the pictures on the vision board, where I'm gonna keep it, and how I'm feeling now that I have done this whole process. So let's get started with why a vision board and why now. I understand that vision boards have been a thing for a while, for years. And although I have thought they were great, for some reason I never sat down to make one myself. And I was watching a video and I can't remember whose it was, but basically they were like, a vision board is like a roadmap. So without having some type of plan, you're kind of just driving with no destination. You know, the car's moving and there's no driver. And when I thought about my life, and one of the things I said in my Reinvent Yourself at 40 video, I remember clearly saying, I'm tired of just going wherever the wind blows. I like being flexible, but I'm just tired of floating around. And I think the reason that I'm floating around is because I don't have a set vision. I don't have an end destination or goal. Now, don't get me wrong. I have made lots of accomplishments. I have lots of goals. But when I really sat down to say, where do you see yourself in 2 years, Cara? I could not tell you. And I started to feel like that was a problem. So the reason that I'm making it is because I need a roadmap. And I don't care if it's December 31st. I can make a vision board. You know, it doesn't matter. You don't have to start at the beginning of a year or the beginning of the week or, you know, first day in a month. You don't have to do that when you set goals. And I know sometimes we do that, but for me, when I do that, it's an excuse to not start right away and put in the work. That's me. So I said I was going to sit down and do this, and yes, 2023 is half over, and I honestly could care less. That's why I'm making the vision board, and that's why I'm making it now. I just don't feel the need to wait, and I feel very driven about doing it. So number 2, for categories, I watch a lot of content creators that have created vision boards, and some people have a very structured process, very structured categories, and that really wasn't my flow. That wasn't my approach. It wasn't really my vibe. I think everyone will have their own process and different categories, but I really just sat down and thought about the things that are important in my life, the things that are taking up the most space and the most time in my life, the things that I really care about. Those did generally focus around categories such as fitness, health, career, children, my home organization, hobbies, money was another one, and travel. So those are pretty much the categories that I included in my vision board. So the third thing is the process. When I sat down to create the vision board, I just started copying and pasting pictures onto a Pages document on my MacBook of just everything that mattered to me and that I wanted to change and where I saw myself in regards to those things. So that's the pictures came and then the categories, if that makes sense, because I kind of looked at everything afterwards and I was like, okay, these pertain to money, these pertain to my job, these pertain to the boys, these pertain to the home. I just haphazardly just started copying and pasting. And after I was done, I organized them. Right now, I'm going to show you some footage of my vision board. I'm just going to film from my phone and edit it in. And then you can see kind of how things are grouped together, or, you know, maybe you don't understand it, but I think whatever vision board you come up with is for you. So as long as you understand it and know why you put those pictures on there and what they mean to you, then however it looks, I think is fine. I'm certain that some of you will want a more structured approach, and this one's just a draft. So I'm actually thinking about maybe making another one that has some more detail on it and putting some notes down on it. But for right now, I'm just gonna kind of speak to you all from the heart about each of the pictures that I put on my vision board, and you know, hopefully this will inspire you or get you to thinking about what you want to do for yours if you are interested in making one as well. So I love this thing, and I only have printed out one, but I will tell you what I do plan to do with this one vision board. If you looked at the title, I have from 2023 to 2025. I may not accomplish all of these things in these 2 years, and I am totally fine with that. Again, this is just a roadmap. So I don't necessarily have a time limit for each of the things on this board, but I'm just looking at a 2-year window right now. Some people may want to look at a 5-year window. Some people want to look at a 1-year window. And I think whatever you're comfortable with is what you should do. So let's go ahead and just get into the pictures, because this is the fun part. So the first 2 pictures are the Northern Lights, and then there's the Southwest Plain. Now, when I first started my YouTube channel, one of the videos that I spent a week using the Nomad Fire and Ice palette, which was based on Iceland. I did a lot of research for that video, and one thing that I've always wanted to see are the Northern Lights. That is always something that I have just, I would love to see that in my lifetime. There was a chance they said that you could see them in Maryland, and then they were like, no, you can't. That was a few weeks ago, and I was a bit disappointed, but I was also very skeptical. Anyway, after I did that video and learned more about Iceland and the lagoon and all the things you could do there and the food, I really would love to go there, and I would love to be able to see the Northern Lights. And I think that I can get there, you know, in the next 2 years. But me putting this on paper, like, I'm such a visual person, and seeing it, you know, I'm like, yes, like, I can have this in front of me as a goal, as something that I'd like to attain. And you know what? Maybe it happens in 2030, you know, and that's fine. A trip like that, I have not done a whole lot of research to see what it costs yet, but it's on here because it's something that is very important to me that I would love to experience. Now, the Southwest Plain, that represents my desire to travel more. At 42, I don't know where I thought I would have gone by this point. And I never want to say I'm behind at this, but when I do talk to other people and I hear about places they've been, and now comparison is the thief of joy and we all have different situations, but it reminds me of how much I want to experience the world. Although I always wanted to do that, I never really prioritized it. You know, I didn't have desires to study abroad or really go away for college or be this world traveler, but I do have that desire now. And so I need to put that at the forefront because trips cost money, they cost time and research, And I also have 2 children, and not that they would come on every single trip, but I damn sure would take them along because I want them to see everything too. That is really, really important to me. I have Southwest. Marky loves Southwest, but I did explain to him that, you know, Southwest doesn't go everywhere. So, you know, we may have to expand a bit. But those are my travel goals, and in specific, the Iceland destination. I really want to go to Jamaica as well. I was trying to go last year for Thanksgiving, but it didn't work out. I mean, I could put more places here, but this was a very good starting point for me. Now, the next picture, you see a woman and she's meditating. So that kind of represents my mental health. I want to be in a place where I have less anxiety, more relaxation, more connection with myself. I want to declutter my mind. I really have to work hard at that because I have a lot of racing thoughts. And lately, my racing thoughts have been positive. It's been about this life change stuff. But, you know, that type of positive stress or eustress can also, you know, make you restless at night, interrupt your sleep patterns, you know, so just trying to keep everything in its place. I really would like to get better at controlling my breathing. I think that will help with anxiety, meditating, just having those quiet moments of reflection. And I'm very, very reflective, but a lot of times that reflection happens at times where I should be asleep, just because I don't really get that time throughout the day. So even how my watch will say, hey, you know, take some time to breathe. Like, maybe take advantage of that, you know, just stop when you get home. And before you start cooking dinner, like before the boys get home, even if I'm sitting in my car, kind of get yourself together, you know, reconnect with yourself so you're not just on autopilot all the time, which is kind of how I feel like I've become in my life. And I'm sure many of you can agree with that. Whether you have a busy job, busy career, kids, I mean, there are so many different lifestyles and situations that take up space in our lives. So it's not just someone that has kids, you know, like we all can be cluttered as far as obligations and things that we have to do. Figuring that out is extremely important to me. One of the things I do like to do when I get myself together is I do like to get up before everybody, because it is a quiet time and I get a head start. So that's one of the things that I try to implement. So that's something I want to keep in the forefront and figuring out the time. And that's not really the easiest task, but embarking on it and starting on it, I think, is the push that I need to really figure out what's going to work for me. The next picture, you see the kid with the iPad over his face, and it says, be screen time smart, make wise media choices. And, you know, along with many parents, let me just be honest here. I allow a lot of screen time. I'm not even going to say sometimes, especially with Marky. August is more versatile in his play, and he's not really hooked onto the iPad the way that Marky is. The iPad has kind of been a blessing and a curse because the iPad has been a source of communication. It's been a source for me to see what Marky's interests are. When I see that he's looking at planes, or when he was looking at toilets flushing, or when he was looking at, I mean, we had different things. He looks at a lot of health things. It gives me a window into his mind, especially before he was communicating. I could see what he liked, and I could see how good he was with the technology. I could see that he could imitate, you know. I would see him laugh at things and see what he thought was funny. Through the iPad, I was also able to see how empathetic he is. So when he sees someone crying, or when he hears an Adele song and he comes to me with those glassy eyes, like, I was able to see all of that before he could explain it and be verbal about it. So the iPad has just been wonderful. And the fact that he was able to ask for it, it's like, yes, you can have whatever you want. But now Marky's older, he's 12. And even though his speech isn't super clear, it's clear enough. And he's starting to go through puberty. So now when I'm trying to enforce certain things, you know, he's giving me pushback and defiance. We're at a point where he that can't be his only thing. I also feel like the phone, and it's really a phone now, he went from the iPad because now he has a phone, it makes his autism symptoms more present. So a lot of stimming, a lot of jumping. You can just tell he is overstimulated in a way that he's not when he doesn't have the technology. I also know that he's very good with it. So I have to be very watchful about the things that he's looking at, because I have seen some things and I'm like, they're using foul language, like you can't use that. So the issue, I think, is that when the boys come home from school, they don't have homework. Now, there are times where I have given them things, but I'm also getting home from work too. So like everybody kind of needs to decompress, relax, wants to do a preferred activity. I can't blame him. Oftentimes I'm cooking. So when I do an activity with Marky that doesn't include electronics, it has to be very structured and I have to be with him. He doesn't have the desire to do anything else. So if I say, you know, I want you to read for a while is not specific enough. I need to give him a time and how many books. He's not really reading for enjoyment, although he does like some books. He's reading to get back to the iPad. And I've seen that a lot in this generation with children, even my students. They finish their work so they can get to the next thing, when it's like, it wasn't about getting to the next thing. It was about enjoying this thing. That is a struggle for me because I did not grow up that way. So we kind of hit heads on that. And then it's like, so if I say, you know, you're going to color, when I first started showing Marky about coloring and I would just give him a page, that was very overwhelming because he didn't really know what to color. But then when I started giving him action figures, he knew he had to color these 5 action figures. But again, I had to be very present, very structured. So I am trying to find other things that Marky will care about, but it is really, really tough. And the other thing is, if I know I can function without my phone, but I have my phone all the time. I mean, I listen to books on my phone, but I know I can separate myself from it. And the difference is I don't think Marky can. So I also want to make sure that I'm being an example where they see me doing other things too. And I think they do. You know, they see me working out. They see me reading things. You know, they see me doing different things. They see me cooking. I don't want them to always just see me on my phone. And that's why, like, when I record, you know, my recording windows are very small because I have so many ideas for videos, y'all. Like, I could just record. I could literally probably do this full time, but I can't allow myself that time. I can't take that time away from them, and I don't want to be cramped up in this room. I have a lot more pictures, so I'm going to move on from that. The next picture is all about me getting out into nature more and just enjoying nature and connecting. I mean, I'm to the point where I will go outside and make the boys go outside with no socks on. Like, just stand in the grass, just connect. Like, take off your shoes and socks or your Crocs, whatever, and just feel the grass. Like, just connect. I know that when I'm feeling blah, going outside is one thing that helps me immediately. Just being in the sun and sitting there. I don't care what is going on. I don't care how hot it is. If I just sit on the porch in the sun for like 10 minutes, my mood, I'm not saying now I'm not sad anymore, but my mood is so different, then I feel like I can go back in and kind of conquer whatever's bothering me. You know, it just feels good. And I know there's science behind that. And I know that if it's helping me, it's going to help the boys as well. So connecting with nature, you know, taking walks, noticing animals, noticing the trees, you know, we do a lot of I Spy, things like that. I just think it's really important. So that's why that picture's on there. Okay, the next kind of 3 pictures are a little bit connected. So you see the people working and lifting, looking really toned at the gym. Then you see Tracy Ellis Ross and Taraji, my girl. All right, so I want to be more toned. I've been going to the gym 4 to 5 days a week this summer. I would say that it has now become part of my routine. It's become a routine and a habit because I've stacked it on the back of something that I have to do anyway, which is take the boys to camp. And on the way back from camp, I pass the street for the gym. So I have my clothes ready the night before. Water bottle is by my bed. refill it, get the boys' stuff ready, and I put my workout clothes on. When I drop the boys off, I go to the gym. I've been going every day. And some days I've stayed for like 2 hours, which when I was a avid gym goer before, I was never staying there. Like, it was just kind of going through the motions to say I went. But now I'm like going and enjoying myself. And that's the time where I will, you know, I'll be like, okay, this is like a good time for me to scroll on social media, watch YouTube content, listen to my podcast. You know, it motivates me. And a lot of times when I'm watching the YouTube videos and stuff, 35 minutes on the elliptical goes by super fast, you know, and then I'll do my weights, and I'm starting to be more structured with the weight workouts that I'm doing. But it all started with just going, just getting in there. There's so many different types of people in there, you know? So if you are somebody that doesn't want to go to the gym because you're self-conscious, like, there are so many people, different types of people, different ages of people that are at the gym. Like, I love it. And I love it. I especially love when I see like the older people there. I'm like, yes, I want that to be me. Like, I really want that to be me. And my doctor told me, like, if you want to be kicking ass at 90, you got to be kicking ass now. Like, it's not going to start. I don't think he said ass. Maybe he said kicking butt. I don't know. But the point is, it's like, I have to start now. And I stopped focusing on the changes that I want to see in my body, because you're not going to have that instant gratification. And that could make me lose my motivation because I'm not seeing the results right away. It's going to take months. I have decided to change my identity to being a person that goes to the gym. That's my identity, and I am identifying myself with that. And I didn't make that up. That came from the book Atomic Habits that I'm listening to. I am changing my identity to that of a healthy person. So when I'm looking at my food choices, I'm asking myself, well, what would a healthy person do most of the time? And are my activities putting a vote toward the person that I want to become, or to something else? And if I can say yes to that most of the time, I'm good. Like, I am good with it. So this summer, I've been going to the gym most of the time. I am a gym goer. I'm a person that goes to the gym. I'm a person that cares about my health. I'm a person that works out. And that's it. And that has made me feel so good. So when I see things on my body that I'm not, you know, a fan of, I'm like, but girl, you've been working out. Like, okay, like, maybe we can add this to the workout because you're already doing it. Like, maybe you can add this exercise to it because you already work out. And before, when I would have things about my body that I didn't like, I'll be like, well, damn, you didn't even work out. Like, you're just complaining and you're not doing anything to change it. And so, like my friend Monica says, you either have to fix it or F with it. And I'm going to choose to fix it. Y'all know what F stands for. I'm not what I'm saying. So, yes, like, I identify as that. I want to identify as an organized person. I want to identify as a healthy person. Does that mean I'm not going to have cheat days or times where I eat junk or whatever? Absolutely not. No, I'm not holding myself to that. But, you know, when you think about voting for president, a president doesn't need a unanimous vote. They just need the majority. So I'm just trying to do things the majority of the time. And that's why I have that picture. Now, Tracee Ellis Ross, I love, like, her style. I don't have a body type like her, but I like her shape. I want to say that her and Taraji are in their 50s, and I think they look amazing. I am about like a size 10, 12 right now, and I'd like to get down to a size 8. I think that is reasonable. I believe that's the size that Taraji is. I believe she's a size 8. I'm not sure how tall she is, but I think she's probably like, I don't know, she might be like 5'5". So I'm like 5'5". So right now, like when I started working out, the scale would fluctuate. I would say between, like 161, maybe at the highest 165 pounds, 164 pounds, right? But what I've seen now is that the scale, although it still fluctuates, it's going in a downward trajectory, which is what I want to see. Now, you know, you're going to weigh differently, you know, during different times of day and stuff like that. And that's fine. But like lately, I've been weighing myself in the morning, and now it was 160. Now it's 159. Does it jump back up to 161? Yeah. But then it's 158. So I'm looking for that downward trajectory, and me just seeing that is so motivating, but also knowing that your weight does fluctuate, probably within 5 pounds. Issa Rae is another one I could have on here. Like, I just like her vibe, her style. I really like Issa Rae a lot. So, you know, I have these women on here because they are people I look up to, and they are extremely talented and motivated, and that motivates me. The books, I want to read more. I love to learn. I love learning about pretty much anything. It could be technology, food. I really love reading about food. I love learning about like self-improvement. So if it's through Audible or actually being able to sit down and physically read a book, I don't really care, but I love consuming information and taking that in. And yeah, sometimes that can help add to the racing thoughts, but I want to do more of that. I want to do more learning. Next, you see the heart with the fruits, and I thought there were some vegetables on here, but that just represents my healthy eating. I think I might have told you that I had stopped with dairy, mainly cheese and the meat. And I've been pretty plant-based, but now that's not going to be a permanent thing. Like, I did have a salad yesterday and I sprinkled a little bit of cheese on it, just a little bit, but I was heavy on the cheese, y'all, like heavy on the cheese. And I'm like, we gotta come to a happy medium. Like, I'm not gonna be this or that. You know, I have been pretty much like pescatarian, but I love a lot of plant-based foods. I just like the way they taste. So not having meat hasn't really been like an issue for me. The cheese thing, I don't know if anything is gonna really replace cheese, but I've cut back on the cheese, you know? So now I feel like, I mean, and I was doing that since probably the end of May. So now after a couple months, I feel like I can just add a little bit in. Like, I'm not gonna go overboard. You know, I'm not gonna be doing extra cheese and cheesing it up. But, you know, I think some here and there is fine. But I've just been looking at and researching a lot about dairy and health and inflammation and things like that. So I'm really looking into just preserving my body. You know, I've cut back on alcohol significantly, especially during the week. Like, I haven't even been drinking during the week, so that's new. I'm happy with it. Like, I feel good about it. And looking at this vision board and saying, I've been doing this, really makes me want to continue. All right, you see the open road? I'm sorry, my nose is red. My nose is like itching. I don't know why. But the open road represents highway driving. I have a very difficult time with highway driving, to the point where I do mostly avoid it. It takes forever for me to get everywhere. And that started back in like 2013. I don't really know what triggered it or prompted it, and it's been on and off, and now it's just become a thing. So, you know, I usually wear my anxiety necklaces and things like that, but I usually take the back way, like, and it takes forever. So I want to conquer that fear. I'm not exactly sure how to go about it yet, because it's such an odd thing. But I don't want that to limit me. And it hasn't. I get where I need to go. But, you know, thinking about driving, thinking about the route I'm going to take and all this kind of stuff, it's so anxiety provoking for me. And I've never spoken about this on here. But yeah, like, I don't really drive the Beltway. I cannot stand it. It's like people are driving too fast and too crazy, and I feel like I get a little dizzy. There's like this weird sensation that I get. And if I am on the Beltway, I really like to be in the right lane. If there's like barriers and there's nowhere for me to pull over, it makes me really nervous, because then I'm like, oh my gosh, Cara, what if you have to pull over? You can't, you know, and my mind just starts to go. So I want to really work on that. So I hope y'all have a snack for this video. All right, we're almost halfway through. You see the next picture that says my new room. So my beauty room is just on pause again. It needs to be painted, but the floor is done. I need to get my stuff out of this room so it doesn't look like an episode of Hoarders, and so that it is peaceful. You know, my room is a place of peace. I don't mind that my Peloton is in here. I don't mind that my makeup is in here or anything like that for now, but it can't be a permanent situation. I don't want to feel a sense of being overwhelmed when I come home. I don't want to feel like, oh my gosh, my house is not together, work is not together, everything is not together. And then when I'm at home, it's not a place of peace, you know? I cannot wait to have my beauty room, and it's going to be slash little workout situation because I do have an elliptical here and I do have my Peloton, which is not getting the use that she deserves. I really prefer the elliptical, honestly, but that's neither here nor there. I'm really excited to have my YouTube room because I, at this point, have been doing this for 3 years, and I think a dedicated space would be awesome. You know, I could put some of my teaching stuff down there too, so that my work stuff is not in my bedroom. I don't consider the YouTube stuff work. That's why it doesn't bother me that it's in here, and it's really convenient right now to be in here. But now that the boys are a little bit older and they do some things on their own, they can come downstairs to get me. Just know they'll still be coming downstairs because the downstairs will be done and they'll be down there interrupting. So don't y'all worry. Don't think they're going to be like not coming in. Now, speaking of YouTube, that YouTube logo isn't really there for growth. It's more about me finding my niche here on this platform. At first, I did think it was makeup. I have so much makeup, and I'm loving doing the fragrance content as well. But I also love talking about this stuff. And who's to say I can't do it all? I just think the original direction that I was going in, that's not it. It's not going to be like just talking about makeup. It's not going to be reviewing makeup. Like, I don't want this to be a review channel. I do like reviewing things that I have, but I don't typically buy things in order to review it. I just buy a lot of things. So it may seem like I'm buying things to review, but I'm not. I'm really not, which is a concern, as y'all know. But I want to find my niche here. I was at a point where I was competing, trying to compete with bigger YouTubers, trying to get videos up, all this kind of stuff. My life does not work like that. My life doesn't allow me right now to get things up first. My life does not allow me to, when something comes in, to just stop and film with it. And my desire isn't always to just stop and film with something that comes. You know, there may be something else I want to use, and that's the thing I want to use. And then it becomes, but I got to do this. That's not where I want to be. I want to talk about the things that I want to talk about and show the things that I want to show. And that's kind of where I'm at with it. I really enjoy the conversations we have in the comment section or on Instagram. I did a live stream last week. It was just so great. And I did a live with Audra, the Audra Reigns. She was Audra at Home. That was great. Like, those are the conversations that I feel like are so meaningful. It's the conversations that start with makeup, but then kind of go into other issues that are very important to our lives that really keeps me going. And I get the same vibe from you all about when I'm talking. A lot of times, you know, when I'm doing my makeup, I'm just talking about random things, but they're things that really impact us all. Finding my niche here is really important, and that's what that picture represents. If that brings growth, that is awesome. But YouTube started out as an outlet for me. This community is not something that I expected to have, but I feel blessed to have. So if there are more people that are in the boat with us that can add to our lives, add suggestions, ideas, and share their experiences, then yes, I do want them here. All right, next let's go to this woman here. This represents an educator who has left the classroom. I have been so self-conscious about my teaching ability because I'm not gonna sit up here and say I'm not good at it, because if I wasn't, I wouldn't be teaching as long as well, you know, there is shortage. But I always felt like since I didn't go to school for education, I just lacked a lot of background. But I also know that's not true, because a lot of people that go to school for education could not have survived a lot of stuff that I dealt with teaching all this time, especially my years in Baltimore City, especially those years. I mean, there's just a lot, you know, and I'm able to come back every year and be excited, you know, and that is a positive thing. But I also wonder, is teaching the destination? And that's what I'm talking about with the roadmap. Now, I really don't want to go back to school. I already got a master's. It was a while ago, but like, I don't really want to go back to school. However, if I'm looking at my end destination, school might be a part of it and I'd be more willing. But right now I don't have a destination. So I'm like, go to school for what? For what? So I want to start thinking about that. Do I want to get out of the classroom? Am I meant to only teach? Is there another area of education where I think I would be more effective or have more to offer, more to help? Could I help new teachers? Like, what does that look like? I honestly don't have the desire to be a principal. I could do assistant principal, but a principal, no. I'm not really into that. But what else is out there, you know, and just understand that I can do those things. I can. And the only reason that I'm still teaching is just because I've chosen not to. So I really want to think about my career. What is going on with that? The next two pictures have to do with money. I want to make more money and I want to save more money. That's the long and short of it. I am a teacher. I feel like I make decent money. But when I think about the travel goals that I have, when I think about the family compound that I want to live on, that people think I'm playing about, it's going to take more than what I have. And that's just the reality of it. It's going to take some saving. I'm not great with saving. So, you know, it's learning about saving. Learning some tips and tricks, talking to people. Like my dad is great at saving money. I know a lot of people are. Getting that discipline, you know, and keeping the goals that I have in front of me so I know what I'm saving for. Those are very important to me. And, you know, maybe with coming out of the classroom, maybe I will be making more money in order to save, you know, so those kind of connect. Now, the next couple of pictures have to do with my house. My house definitely needs some TLC. It is a very special house and it's not super old, but they're just things that need to be done. I would love to redo my bathroom. It's very, very small, so I can't make it bigger, but I think I can maybe utilize the space a bit differently. Under that, you'll see the kitchen. I've always wanted a new kitchen and I want navy blue cabinets. I really do. Yeah, those are things that I want. My kitchen is really small as well. Like 2 people is almost too much in that kitchen, seriously. I don't think the house is too small. I just think the way I'm utilizing the space isn't the best. And I think I have too much stuff. So the house revamping, and right now my basement's not being used. So that's a whole nother floor of the house that we're gonna have access to soon. On the bottom left, you'll see I have a picture of plants. I want more nature inside the home, but it also means I have to keep these plants alive. And that has always been tough. But I think plants look so nice inside homes. And I know it's just, like, plants are good for the air. I know people name their plants. I really would love to have some more plants, just some more greenery inside the house. So I don't know much about house plants, but I want some. The next picture just has to do with organization. You know, I want my house to feel almost like a hotel. I don't want it to look like it hasn't been lived in, you know, but when I come home, like when I open that door, I want it to be like, you know, like everything is in its place. It smells good. You know, I want it to be my place. And right now I just feel like it's kind of overrun with stuff. And so, like, y'all know I had a dumpster I've donated to Purple Heart and it still doesn't quite look like I've gotten rid of anything, but it's a start. Things are coming out of here. Probably need to really go through this makeup again and really make some life choices here, you know? My style is like bohemian farmhouse. That's really what I want. Kind of rustic, but bohemian. That's kind of how it is now. It's got the bohemian, but then it's got the clutter. And it's got some rustic vibes too, and some old vibes, but it's got some clutter. And I think it's hard to see the beauty of the home when you have all of that. And I think it's hard for me to enforce with the boys, like, oh, this goes here, when things are just kind of everywhere, you know? And we have a system. Like, I'm not gonna say it's not like a crazy looking place, you know what I mean? But there's a lot of room for improvement. And I just have to be honest about that. Organization hasn't always been my thing. And now that it is my thing, I don't know where to put anything. And I'm like, do I just throw it in the trash? Because, like, I don't know where to put it. It's just too much. I just want to throw it away. Like, I'm not one of those people, like, I got to keep everything. No, like, just throw it away. I don't even need to see it. They just trash it. Next, you see the shed. I don't have a garage, but I do need a place to put, like, my lawnmower and August bike and some of the yard tools and things like that. They're kind of just hanging up under the deck, and that would be a nice place to maybe turn into a little sun porch or sunroom, or have a fire pit or a table and chairs under there. But you can't do it when you have a weed whacker hanging down over your head, or a hedge cutter. You know, my dad put these hooks up there. Like, you can't be having a lawnmower hanging down and you trying to sit down, you know, and enjoy yourself. That's just not gonna happen. So a shed would be nice. And then the last thing, we have this cute little miniature schnauzer. I don't know if I want to have a miniature schnauzer, but eventually I do want a dog. I think I'm ready. Because a lot of what I want is, you know, involving money, and dogs are an expense. You know, I'm not ready like right this second, but you know, I love dogs, and we're a dog family. I do miss my Camden so much. I really miss him, but you know, he gave me a good almost 14 years and was with me before I had my kids. You know what I mean? So I miss my Cam. I really do. But I think he was pretty miserable, you know? And if I didn't let him go, I don't know what would have happened to him, you know? I don't think he'd be around right now, but I think it just would have been way worse. So I know I did the right thing with that. But the boys are getting older. I know I talked about getting August a bearded dragon. He hasn't even asked. See, he hasn't even asked about the bearded dragon that I told him I was going to get him. But I think August would be better suited with the dog. Just because I saw how he was like with the sugar gliders. He was a little bit skittish. And I'm like, I don't know if you need the bearded dragon, but he's great with dogs. He loves dogs. And we just watched my sister's dog for a couple of days. I think a dog would be a great companion for him. So that's, I think I'd rather put my money there, even though I know the bearded dragons are very cool and I wouldn't necessarily mind having one. But then I, you know, also think about the travel goals and what that means if you have a pet. I don't know who's gonna come over here and take care of a bearded dragon, but I do know like my family, you know, will watch the dogs and stuff like that. They always will watch Cam. So that's my vision board, y'all. And you know, I might add some things to it, might change some things as time goes on, and that's fine. So where am I gonna keep my vision board? My plan is to make lots of copies, okay? I want a copy for my car. I want a copy for my classroom. I want to shrink this down and put a copy in my planner. I have this one on the refrigerator. I want one in this room. I want to always be reminded about the goals that I have, so that when I am making decisions or presented with just different situations, I can really keep what I want in the forefront of my mind. I'm not gonna have to remember what's on it. I'm gonna be like, oh, you know what? Am I gonna buy this? No, I'd rather just put the money in this pot for this Iceland trip. You know what I mean? Like, I think it can really help be a guiding factor in making decisions. And I think it can make it easier because your activities are either gonna align with your goals or they aren't. You know, I mean, you have some things that don't really matter. But, you know, when it comes to making big decisions, I think either they're going to align with the things that you want, they're going to align with the type of person you want to be, or they're not. But if you don't know what you want and you don't know what kind of person you're going to be, then, or that you want to be or identify with, then I just think it's going to be hard to make decisions. And this right now is really an epiphany because I'm always indecisive. And I feel like this is part of the reason why. Because when you don't have a plan, man, you could just go any way the wind blows. Seriously. This is all just coming to me right now. I'm sitting up here like, wow, okay. Like, no wonder you're indecisive. You don't really have a course. You have no course. So, you know, I am in the process of figuring out the course and the path that I want to be on. And you know what? You can do all that and life can throw curveballs at you, and that's fine. You just have to revamp after that. I mean, everything's not going to go according to the plan, but at least you have a plan. So if it doesn't, or when life throws you the curveball, you can figure out, you know, how to get back on track or decide that your plan need to go in a different direction. But I feel like I personally needed to have something to start with, and this is how it's going to work for me. How has this helped me so far? Well, I feel like I've really adopted working out as a habit where I would say, I mean, I haven't done this any other summer. I can say that. I've gone to the gym sometimes here and there, but I definitely didn't keep it up. I'm definitely drinking a lot more water. Like, my body craves water now. Like ice cold water. I know some people say it's not good for you, but my body is craving water. I've been intermittent fasting. I haven't even eaten today. I need to eat. It's 12:47 p.m. Before, I couldn't even wake up without just eating something. And sometimes I would be packing the boys' lunches and just eating a couple chips and doing this kind of stuff. And I'm like, so if I was intermittent fasting, I'm breaking my fast for like a Cheez-It, like 2 Cheez-Its, and it's not even worth it. You know, like my breakfasts weren't that bad, but school starts at 7:40. So like, and I'm just kind of eating all throughout the day. I was eating late, drinking late, to be honest with you, 10 o'clock, you know, just never giving my body that chance to have that break so it can digest and reset and burn off anything. Like, I was just doing whatever. And what I've been doing now, I haven't been doing necessarily the 16-8 fast because I don't know if I'm gonna be able to sustain that, but I've done it more than I thought I would. I always am doing 12 hours though. So if I do have something late at 10 or 11, then I'm not eating at 7. I'm gonna wait till 11, 10 or 11 the next day, you know? And then I'm like, well, can I push it till 1, like 14 hours? Because it doesn't have to be 16, it could be 13, it could be 14, you know? And I feel like the weight coming down is partly a combo of the fasting and the working out. And I just want something that I can sustain. When I did keto, I dropped weight quickly. It wasn't a significant amount, but it probably could have been, but I couldn't sustain it. Like, I like fruit, you know? I do like some carbs. All carbs aren't bad, you know? So I feel like I'm learning how to eat reasonably, and that's all I want. I just want to eat reasonably. That's it. When we go on vacation, I might have some buffalo wings. Like, you know I haven't had chicken in I don't know, a month or so, but we'll see. I don't know. But then I'll get in the situation and I won't have it. Like 4th of July came and I'm like, damn, like them hot dogs. So I got me my plant-based hot dogs and kept it pushing in my Beyond Burger. Like, I didn't even want, well, I don't really like ground beef. Ground beef, it makes me have indigestion. But like a turkey burger, you know, I always was eating turkey burgers, but I've been eating tuna, been getting my wild caught salmon. I'm about to make my Southwest salad with some shrimp. Like, and I have just been looking forward to it. My body is starting to crave the vegetables that I feel like I was missing. I have been on it. Like, now it's like, oh, I make sure I get the boys their medicine, but then when it comes to me taking my medicine or my vitamins, you go by the wayside. No, like now I've stacked that onto, when they get their medicine, I get mine. Things like that. So how am I feeling now? I'm feeling really good. I have a visual, and it's also opening my eyes to just like how much I needed this, in my life. So I don't want to hold y'all too much longer, but I would love to know if you have created a vision board. How do you feel like it worked? Do you feel like vision boards are ways to really manifest things into reality? I can't say for sure. I can just say I'm on an upward path. Whereas before, I just felt like I was on autopilot and I was just on this like plateau that just never ended. I don't feel like that anymore. And it makes me feel so motivated to get up out of the bed in the morning. Like, the first thing I do when I get up, even when I wasn't motivated, I'd just be like, thank you, God. Like, I'm up. I'm up. That's part one. I'm up. You know, but now I'm like, I have a purpose. Like, I've got shit to do. I have goals. I have things that I want to accomplish. You know what I mean? And again, it's not about hustling all the time. It's about doing it most of the time. And I really feel like I am. So I'm going to leave it there. Let me know if you've done a vision board. Let me know how often you do them, how you feel that they work. Do you change your goals on your vision board? What kind of things do you include? I'd love to know, like, what layout do you use? Do you use something really structured and specific, or are you kind of like free for all like me? And again, all this can change as I continue to do this, but this is a process. I don't want to let go of it. Even if I refine it, I'm fine with refining things and learning, But I am so excited. I hope you can feel that, and I hope that if you are interested in making one or making some changes, I hope that you're here for this journey with me. And let me let y'all go. Thank you so much for taking out some of your time and hanging out with me for another Mimosas and Makeup. I hope this was therapy for you. You know it always is for me. And until I see you again, make sure you are being gentle with yourself. Talk to yourself nice, stay safe, and I will definitely see y'all in the next one. Bye.